Could you get me to 6 minutes? Great. You ready? Okay. The U.S. Energy Information Administration says that 42% of electricity in the United States in 2011 came from coal. Coal is dirty. This is a picture of a man who is a coal miner. He's washing up after a hard day's work. And he's a very good visual representation of the coal industry. It is dirty. As a citizen, I'm concerned about the state of energy production in the United States. I'm also going to have to pay electric bills in the future. That also concerns me. I'm also living in an environment that I don't want polluted by carbon dioxide, greenhouse gases, and methane. So I'm very concerned about the state of energy in the United States. I also spent a lot of time doing public policy debate in alternative energy. So I've done months of research on alternative energy, so I know a little bit more about the subject than most people, but I will defer to the opinions and statistics from experts in order to prove my case that there is an energy crisis in the United States. I'm going to go back to coal here. As you can see, 69% of electricity in the United States is generated by either coal, natural gas, or petroleum. These are fossil fuels, and they are very hazardous to the environment and expensive. Using historical and scientific data, I'm going to prove to you that we really do have an energy crisis in this country, and I'd just like to show you a few examples of what happens when we use these methods, specifically in China. I don't know how many of you remember the Beijing Olympics, but there was that heavy smog cloud. Well, less than a month ago in Beijing, a report came out about the smog. On January 30th, 2013, Neil Connor of Yahoo News said the US AQI, which stands for your air quality index, reading for Beijing stood at 457, hazardous, at 5 p.m. Tuesday, after reaching 517 beyond index at 6 a.m. Now, how this index works is it's given a number representation to tell you about the quality of the air. So between 0 to 150, the air is fine. Above 150, the air is considered unhealthy. Above 300, it's hazardous, and above 500 is off the scale. So less than a month ago in Beijing, the pollution in the air was off the scale with this smog. Now, the reason this is happening is because China burns so much coal. According to BBC News journalist Martin Patience, who reported this on the same day, currently China burns almost as much coal as the rest of the world combined. That is leaving many cities choking in hazardous smog. Now, although New York City is not choking in hazardous smog, we're still seeing the environmental effects of using so much coal to power our country. And if we continue to use it the way that we've been using it, we're going to see more drastic effects like this smog that we're seeing in Beijing. As well as the environmental problems that come with this, there are also economic problems, but the biggest economic problem really comes from our number 2 supplier of energy, which is natural gas. Natural gas is very complicated to produce. It's explosive, so it has to be shipped under high pressures. It's also usually found in great amounts in remote locations, meaning that you need to transport over great distances. So the way that they usually do that is either a large amount of manpower or expensive pipelines. There's also energy penalties at every stage of production with natural gas because it's so harmful to the environment. It produces 80 to 95% methane, which is a greenhouse gas when it's burned. It also lets go of carbon dioxide. So it's very pricey. It's not very efficient, it's not effective, and it's pretty expensive. So we obviously need to do something about this. But there is hope. In 2007, Thomas Friedman of the New York Times is talking about how America is trying to go green. And he's talking about these different examples of when it's worked for us. And he's talking about George Bush. So when George Bush was governor of Texas, he pushed for renewable energy portfolio mandate in 1999. Texas power companies had to produce 2,000 new megawatts of electricity from renewables by 2009. So they were given 10 years. Now, not only did they meet that quota by 2005, Texas actually raised the quota to 5,000 megawatts by 2015. So it really is working for them that way. So we are seeing some progress there, but more definitely needs to be done to get away from these fossil fuels. As I've told you, these are dangerous, they're expensive, they're inefficient, they pollute our environment, and they make our wallets a little bit lighter. We really need to do something about this, and we've seen change work, but we need to fix this problem before it consumes us. Thank you.